Hello and welcome to the aForm show. My name is Alan George and thank you very much for tuning in. Each week, we sit across from thought leaders and change makers in the architecture and design space of the GCC. We dive deep into their experiences, both professionally and personally, and share their valuable insight as to what makes them tick. Our goal is to add value to your day and help you navigate your own personal creative journey. Finally, the opinions and the views of the guest speakers are that of their own. They do not necessarily represent the views and the opinions of the show or the host. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This week, we are joined by Esther. Esther, you'll have to help me out with your last name. I don't want to butcher it in the introduction.
Esther Echeverria.
Echeverria. Awesome. She comes with a vast knowledge of architecture and engineering recruitment across both Europe and the GCC. Esther has sourced candidates from varying skill levels and experience levels. She is known for her hands-on approach, professional attitude, and most importantly, going the extra mile. Currently, she is managing director at LNC Recruitment, and they provide turnkey sourcing for design and construction companies who are looking to grow their teams and attain high-performing individuals. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, Esther. How are you?
Hi, Alan. I'm great. And you? Thank you for having me in the show.
No problem. Always a pleasure to have you. I guess we'll just jump right into it. Could you give us a brief background of yourself and how LNC Recruitment came into being?
Yes, sure. So my background is I graduated as a business engineer and I was working in France in the lighting industry. So I was already in touch with designers and architects back in time. And I've been recruiting for architects in the Middle East for 6 years now. And LNC Recruitment is born 2 years ago. So out of a desire to create more bond with the candidates. Some agencies are very much KPIs oriented, and for us it's a lot about create bonds, and we not assess only the technical skills of the candidate, but we are also assessing behavior. So for this we ask behavioral questions, which are situation-based questions basically.
Right. That sounds really interesting. This is something which I kind of wanted to get into, and it's good that you brought it up. I understand that obviously different recruitment firms have different processes, kind of from the start to the finish, not just from the candidate, but dealing on your end with the client itself also, without, giving away any trade secrets or anything per se. Could you potentially run us through what a general process at LNC Recruitment would be when you deal with the candidate?
Yes, so basically we have a client brief.
Yes.
So when a client uses a recruiter, usually they want something very specific. So they will tell us, for example, we want someone with, let's say, 6 years experience, 2 years in design, purely design with a design studio. So we will have very specific requirements, and that's why we cannot consider everyone. But then we usually advertise it on mostly LinkedIn, Golf Talent. You can follow us and you will see our advertise. We review every single application, that for sure. Sometimes we can't reply to everyone because we might have 200 applications per day, per position sometimes. But we review all the CV, and then we give a call to every candidate relevant, shortlisted. And then again, for us, it's a lot about, our clients are asking a lot about personality these days. So we will have a lot of a long conversation with the candidates to make sure it's not only fitting the role, but also the company culture.
Right. Company culture is quite a popular topic right now. I see a lot of my colleagues as well who kind of, that's kind of become the most important thing actually when they consider, any kind of, career move or career switch or whatever it may be. Is this a trend that you have noticed when you speak with candidates as well?
Yes, definitely, because here in the Middle East, we have a very cultural background. And let's say all the company works differently. If you work with a contractor, you might have different cultural background with a design studio, with a boutique firm, or with a large international. Now more and more companies are trying to diversify and to have all the culture together, which is the best for success.
Right.
And the candidates here, some of them, sometimes you work for a company and unfortunately it's project basis, so you have to change, and they are now seeking more long-term career. And of course, if you want a long-term career, you must be with a company matching with your culture, because you don't want to be working every day 80% of your time where you don't see the same value as yourself. So I think it's very important for both, for the client and for the candidates as well.
Okay. From a candidate point of view, because I'm assuming there's quite a few listening in to this episode, how do you think from a recruiter point of view, how can candidates make your life easier? In the sense, is there anything which, when you see a pool of candidates, you think that, oh, if only they had given me this, or shown this in this manner, or talked about this more, it would have made the selection process a lot easier?
Yeah, so for me, I'm always in touch with the candidate. So first of all, don't hesitate to follow up a lot with me, because even if we spoke last week about a position and you see another advertise from my side relevant, and even if we have a strong database, maybe I didn't contact you. So don't hesitate to drop me a message. First of all, I will always try to be as much as I can close and reply. But then again, you need to tailor a little bit your CV, because sometimes I receive kind of comments like my CV is perfectly matching, but it's a design position, and what I can see is mostly site recently. So you might have done design, but you might have not highlighted it, because maybe last time you applied was for a site position. So just tailor a little bit your CV. Depending on the position you apply for, you need to, like, if I say must have been working for the last 2 years with a design studio, and you are with a contractor, unfortunately I won't be able to represent. Most of the time it's like this. So just follow up, give me a quick call, even send me a WhatsApp anytime, and I can quickly say if it's matching or not. And if it's matching but we have to tailor it, I can also say it.
Right. I mean, that's something which is a breath of fresh air, to be honest. Having been in the industry myself for a while and having dealt with multiple recruiters, I know firsthand how most recruiters probably don't do that. So it's quite refreshing to see that you do. Another question that I had was, when I understand that LNC does recruitment for non-architects as well,
Yeah.
for design firms and boutiques and so on, but not necessarily architects or engineers. So a question that I had was, for example, if you were to say receive a requirement for a social media manager or for an admin assistant within an architecture, engineering, contractor firm, whatever it may be, does your process change at all when hiring someone who's not from the industry?
From my perspective, the process is the same. So the most important part of our position as a recruiter is really to work hand to hand along with our clients. So most important is to really understand the client brief. So sometimes I've been hiring for very long time, and there is a very specific reason why they cannot find the perfect match or the perfect fit. And this is our job to really understand why is this. And then during the process, sometimes the requirement will slightly change. It might have been a reorganization inside the company, or sometimes, for example, when you work with an architectural company, they also have a client, which can be a developer or a government or whatever, and they will slightly change also their requirements. So make sure you always in touch with the client to know exactly what they are looking for, so we don't make either the client or the candidate waste their time. But at the end of the day, to me, as long as you work close to your candidate and close to your client, whether you are recruiting for a financial person, PR, or an architect, is the same. Only with the architect, I enjoy watching their portfolio, which is a plus.
Right.
But
Right.
other than that, I would say at the end of the day, it's the same. It's the same job.
That kind of then pivots me into the next topic, which is actually portfolios. we have, again, had a few people on the show before who have kind of, emphasized on how important a portfolio is. From a recruitment point of view, have you seen any particular bias from clients per se with regard to portfolios, wherein clients have, selected candidates purely just based on how their portfolio looks, not even their projects or things like that?
Yes, definitely. Sometimes even myself, I'm surprised because I can see a very, very strong CV, someone very stable work history, worked 5 years with the same company, and then the portfolio doesn't stand out and my client will tell me straight. So it's also my job to tell the candidate why is not so great, let's say. But and the other way around also, someone who didn't work with very famous company who's quite fresh but will stand out thanks to the portfolio. So the trend I can see from my client, I would say, is you don't necessarily need to showcase. Some people want to showcase all their projects. So it will be 100 pages from the first project they've done 10 years ago, small residential, till now. And
Right.
it's very time consuming to go through, and it might not reflect very well your recent work. So I will always advise to showcase maybe less projects, the one maybe you are most proud of, or the one you feel in your career what was your best work or your most creative work, and to showcase a bit of all the phases you work on. If you've been involved in all the stage of the project, it's good to showcase a bit of all the stage, from concept, technical, some FF&E, and some picture of the built project. Most of the design and build company now are asking to see already built projects. So yeah, I would say no need to have 100 pages, but just choose the right one.
And from a client point of view, do you find yourselves kind of leading the client in the sense that, perhaps a client may not know or may have too much expectation or too little expectation for the role? So do you also then kind of advise the client on their end as to how they should kind of manage their expectations?
Too little expectation, this I never came across.
Right.
Usually they have too much expectation.
Right.
They want someone with they are okay with someone junior, but at the same time they want someone who is highly experienced. Usually it's too much expectation, so I have to say sometimes it's not realistic. But most of the time we find it takes a bit longer, and too much expectation, it's also fine because at least we know exactly what they want. I don't like when, if a client doesn't know exactly what he wants, we're going to waste a lot of time. They're going to start interviewing the wrong person and realize this is not what they want. And all the way through the process, the requirements will change. So it's not wrong to have too much expectation. It might take time, but we always find the right fit at the end of the day. It's someone exists out there matching the culture, matching the technical, matching. Sometimes they ask 10 years experience, best company available immediately. We will find them if it's just a matter of time.
That's really good to know. There is something which I wanted to talk about, which is kind of addressing the elephant in the room. As we all know, whenever this episode comes out, we are currently in the middle of this worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, which has undoubtedly, affected everyone at this point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who, from client end all the way to candidates, there's a lot of people who have been let go of. There's a lot of people who have, on the contrary, also been hired in this period. My question to you is about 2-3 parts. So I'll start with the first one. The first one is, how have you and LNC Recruitment as a company kind of adapted or taken any action during this time?
Yes. So for us, it was like anybody else, I guess. All of a sudden, we went from 20 jobs to 0 or 1 to 2 jobs, because even I had some candidates who had an offer, were supposed to start, and unfortunately they haven't been able to start yet because the client cannot provide the visa, or they don't want the candidate to start from home. So it has been difficult time, and the best we could do is to just try to understand every side, so we don't push the client. If the clients have a requirement, we are here for them. So of course we are here to assist in your requirements, but we don't push to do too much business development these days. I don't think it's necessary because they need to see, plus it's Ramadan. So Ramadan historically is always a bit more quiet in terms of recruitment in the Middle East, plus it's COVID. So we don't want to push them. If they need us, we are here. So we decided to highlight, to focus more on the candidate side. And to be fair, I was personally very, very sad to see all these candidates on the market, very worried. We are all here. Most of us here are the expats. We know what is it to lose your job, to still have invoices to pay every month, family to provide for. So I decided personally to start a free daily coaching session. So I'm also a career coach, which is a bit of a different job. I'm NLP trained, and I decided to, so every day for about 3 weeks, doing 1 to 2 hours one-to-one coaching session with candidates, where I go through their LinkedIn profile, their CV, portfolio. Then we go through how to apply, how to reach out to decision maker, and how to make a good impression on interview, some interview techniques. And I find out that every candidate are very happy about that, because most of us, we feel very lonely. We don't realize like when you lose your job, and it's all like you start feeling stress and negative, and then you feel there is no job out there. So the best thing they can do now is to work on themselves, on their CV, and to be ready for when the market will pick up, because it will pick up eventually. So yeah, for me, I spent a lot of time trying to spread some positivity and help as much as I can. Like anyone try to help the way they can. Some help with finance, with food. For us, we help with coaching.
That is awesome. That is really, really positive news. I mean, I'm sure you can't see because we're recording this remotely, but I have a big smile across my face, because that really is heartwarming that, you would go ahead and do that for candidates. So that's really, really good news. For everyone listening, we'll definitely have Esther's contacts and LNC Recruitment tags in the show notes and on all our socials. So if you want to reach out, you can just kind of go there and get it done. A question that I had was, when you speak with candidates now during this period of time, I assume that the general sentiment is not very positive. But at the end of these sessions that you have with your candidates, do you see a change in their overall attitude and their approach to, finding a new placement?
Yes, definitely. They're always, first of all, very thankful, and they are always starting to feel, I tell them, you're not alone, it's not you, because some people, they just started looking, let's say in January, and they feel like nothing's happening, and they're wondering if there is a problem with their CV. Sometimes there is small adjustment, but most of the time it's not a huge problem, and it's really the market, and the market is not something you can do anything about. I mean, you can see now a lot of people are trying to reskill because their industry is completely down. If you work for a hotel, even if you have the best, if the hotel are closed, you cannot do anything about it. So for a designer, it's the same. If the boutique, if the consultancy are not hiring, you can have the best CV, the best portfolio, you can be the best on interview, have the best motivation, creativity. So it's very important to change their mindset, to realize it's not them, and to realize there is a much more. They can do a lot of things about it at the moment. For example, right now, there is a lot of things happening online. You can see a lot of webinars. All the manufacturers are inviting all the design director of big company, be part of those webinars, take part of the conversation.
Right.
You can work on a skills that you didn't have time to work on. Let's say, for example, you don't have Revit, take a Revit class. Instead of just being negative and thinking there is no job, there is a lot of things you can do to just spend your time wisely.
Right.
Even go to your podcast, for example. I think it's an amazing thing to get some visibility like this. Yeah, definitely. After we speak for 1 to 2 hours, I can see a change of mindset.
That's really good. That's really good. Because I find that as a kind of hindrance with a lot of, people within my network as well. They just kind of go down this, dark spiral, and then it's quite hard to get them out. I can see how your coaching would really, really help candidates like that. Because of the current situation that is going on, I mean, worldwide, not just here, I would imagine that there's a lot more candidates in the candidate pool right now, just because that's how, the situation is. So my question to you from a recruitment point of view is, in a very crowded market, how does a candidate stand out? Is it just their CV? Is it just their portfolio? Is it something else, some kind of X factor? How do they stand out when there are so many candidates now on the market?
Yes, you are perfectly right. Now there's lots of candidates. It will be very competitive. It will pick up, but it will be very competitive. To me, it's a lot of, again, what you are doing during this time. If you've been sitting here for 3 months waiting for the COVID to stop and being all negative, you might not stand out at the end of it. But if you spend your time on, personal branding is something very important. Lots of people are talking about it. So you need to make your name out there. You need to, again, as I said a bit earlier, participate to all this webinar, panel discussion, go on LinkedIn, create an article about your passion. You see a nice project, comment, share it. The recruiters and the talent acquisition, we spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Most of my day I'm on LinkedIn. If you create a nice article about the last project in Saudi or wherever you want, or your last personal project, maybe you did a freelance for your dad coffee shop, whatever you've done, and you create a nice article, you can have a lot of traction. So I might just see your profile pop up on my feed just because you create a lot of traction, you had a lot of like, and maybe I'm looking for someone like you, so I will remember your name. So it's very important to make yourself out there right now on all the like LinkedIn, all the platform, Pinterest, Instagram is important. Also, most of my clients, they go actually check now for the designers, I say, for not for a project manager, but for the designer, most of the time now they also go check the Instagram profile. So just make your name out there. And outside of COVID, here in the Middle East, we have some amazing networking event happening. We have like the Wild, for example, doing amazing job. IDDXB, Design Mix, our networking events monthly, where there is suppliers, designers. You can meet lots of people. Here, it's not only just applying and waiting for an answer. It's just making your name out there and make sure that all the recruiters or the company, when they have a position, they are able to think of you.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because you do seem there's a fact that I heard, which maybe you can confirm, is that a lot of hiring that companies do, a lot of them, about probably 80% of them, are not really advertised. And it's kind of, there's an internal requirement, and it's someone who knows someone, and there's an ideal fit, and that's kind of how it happens. Is that a common trend which you see happening here?
Oh yeah, definitely. So for recruiter, anyway, when you are trained as a recruiter, the first thing you get teach is to use a referral first.
Right.
So before advertising, before make an active search, before approaching candidate on LinkedIn, we use referral. So for example, my client will tell me I need a PM who recently worked on a mall, and I know that, for example, let's say Arcadis just did the Nahil Mall. So I will reach out to the senior PM there and ask, do you know anyone? Have you let go anyone from your team? Because I know the project is finishing up soon. So it's a lot about, do you know someone? So referral is the best thing, because we can have a reference check. We know they've come recommended. We know they are available, and we know they are perfectly fitted. So before advertising, before doing anything, we do referral. So indeed, if you have an excellent network, if you know lots of people in the industry, if you have a lot of friends, if like you do a podcast, so you connect with more and more people, and your name is out there, it will pick up soon, and we're going to think about you first. So I think it's very important, again, personal branding, networking, make a name for yourself.
True. All very valid points. I can see how that would absolutely help in the process. From a recruiter point of view, considering obviously you've been seeing a lot of candidates, over the last 6 to 7 years, like you said, are there any, if you had to pick maybe, a top 3, for example, a top three, skill set or program or anything which, candidates could, pick up and learn and kind of add to their portfolio? Are there any, three universal things which you think all candidates should have, which they probably don't have right now?
Well, I would say like Revit is important nowadays. Well, it is for architecture. It's a long time now. It's maybe 5 years that most of
Right.
the architectural company are asking for Revit. But now also the interior design studio are asking for it, which is a bit more new. So interior designer don't all have Revit, but usually if you are a senior or around, if you are not a technician, basically, you will just have to have some basic knowledge, just be able to open it and
Right.
review the work of the draftsman.
Right.
So if you don't have Revit, definitely get some
Okay.
courses. And then sometimes, it's a lot about what industries they worked on. So if I work with a design studio specializing in hospitality projects, of course they will ask me someone who has done hospitality in the past. And this is something difficult to add if you didn't have, but maybe once you're already employed, if you can diversify, it's always good. Ask to work on side on different projects. If they always you always worked on hospitality and your company picked up on, let's say, a corporate office, maybe try to work on diverse, because it might be a time, especially now, where we don't know exactly where the industry will go, but some are saying that the hospitality will be quiet and maybe all the offices will have to be redesigned after COVID. So it's good to have worked on a bit of different broad range of projects, retail, F&B, whatever.
True.
So usually usually it's about the project they worked on. Software, except from Revit, I don't really have request for specific software. And then it's just about, if you are a designer and you enjoy design, stay in design, because if you go on site with a contractor, it will be difficult to go back to a design studio, for example. Or like if you enjoy site again and you recently work on design, it's difficult to switch. So just follow what you love, and then that's all I would say. Then the CV is matching.
Awesome. Now that, clearly you as a company are already starting to see, potential trends that may happen in the industry, even once, COVID kind of settles down and, we move forward. In that process, I want to know, are there any opportunities which you see as a recruitment firm, as a candidate, in the GCC market over the next, say, 12 to 18 months?
Again, I would say after COVID, plus even after Ramadan, some clients are telling me, I believe it will pick up even after Ramadan, because they still have projects. Like Saudi is very busy, and most of the design is done from studio here in Dubai. So lots of my clients are working on projects in Saudi, and they might have hold on the construction, but the design is still happening.
Right.
So there is definitely lots of jobs out here. Because all these studios, they had, again, for financial situations, they had maybe to let go lots of people. So obviously at some point when the workload increase, they will need more employees. So I would say just be out there and apply. Maybe again the trend will a bit change. Maybe lots of people are talking about all the workplace will have to be redesigned for the new situation, the new norm, because right now with the open space it might not work. So maybe there will be check out of the design studio who are specializing in corporate workplace offices. There will be also Expo 2020 has been rescheduled, so I guess the contractor will be busy again till next year,
Right.
because they have to, of course, finish all the projects. So there will be job out there, and like it's a crisis, right? So like any crisis, there is some down and then it will pick up. The market will obviously recover. So just be ready for that, and make sure you stay aware about what are the projects happening. You can follow, for example, Construction Week online and check who is a consultant, who is a contractor, to know which one are busy.
Right. That actually brings me to my final question. Rather, are there any particular sources of information, be it like you said, Construction Weekly, be it Arc Daily, be it Middle East Architect, whatever? are there any particular sources of network information or industry information which you recommend to candidates to kind of, follow and be in touch with?
Yeah, all the one you said for all the bids, ME as well, all the news, to be fair, to know which project is happening, and then you can check exactly who are the consultant and all. But then also I would say, again, I think it's mostly because of COVID, but recently online you can see lots of webinar from some suppliers like Cosentino. There is a Wild Women in Leadership Deliver. You can follow their conversation, and they will always highlight you about what's happening next. They invite directors of company like Gensler, and they are very much aware about the market. So I would advise you to just go online, to check what webinars are happening, panel discussions. There is index also happening these days where they have to do it virtual as well. So lots of very interesting talk. So applying is not only go and check what jobs are available. It's not only this, because as you said, lots of companies will not even advertise. They will go with referral. So it's about also knowing, it's your job to know as an architect or as a designer, to know exactly what's happening, which project will come through, which city is being developed. I'm sure most of you know about what's happening in Saudi. They want to create new cities, and so check which consultant. It's not only with the developer, it's not only applying with NEOM directly or the Red Sea, but the design studio here in Dubai will be involved in this project. So just try to find out who's working on what, and just approach them.
Yep. That's invaluable advice. And I hope that everyone listening, actions it, because that's maybe one thing which kind of everyone lacks a bit. They kind of think too much about it and then don't really action it. But I think that's brilliant advice, to kind of know where your potential employers are and what they're doing. I think that gives you a brilliant edge over other candidates in the market.
No, I mean, it is hard. It is time consuming. It sounds easier to just go on a job advertise and just click apply. Of course, it will be more time consuming, and it's hard sometimes, to just pick up your phone and call the design consultancy and see, I can see you on a project. Congratulations, are you hiring? It's more difficult to do it, and I can understand. And especially when you're like a designer, let's say you are very technical, you don't used to be like, for example, client facing, so you don't easily tend to. It's hard, but you have to push yourself. You have to. It's something that also I teach during my coaching, that sometimes like success is across your biggest fear. Sometimes you have to push yourself a bit more to pick up the phone, to do the things that you usually don't do. Usually you prefer to hide behind your laptop, just send your CV and portfolio and wait and hope. But it's not what's working best, and for everyone it's difficult. So you just have to push yourself.
Very true. Before we reach the end of our episode, Esther, if there are candidates who want to reach out to you for further questions, if they want to get in touch for your career coaching, what would be the best way for them to do so?
Or you can follow us on LinkedIn, connect with me. You can private message me on LinkedIn. My email address is available on my page, so you can find it very easily. And then when I reply, you will have even my mobile number on my signature. So I'm trying to make myself available. Don't hesitate, even WhatsApp anytime. Don't be scared to message me anytime. There is no problem with that, and I actually appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, Esther, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It really means a big deal to us, that us meaning I kind of count myself as a candidate as well at some point. So it means a big deal to us that there are recruiters like yourself, going the extra mile, particularly in this situation, to kind of make everyone's life a lot easier. So we really, really appreciate that. And finally, just thank you for coming on the show. I'm sure everyone listening has definitely gotten a lot more insight, a lot more direction in these uncertain times. Most importantly, I think direction is what everyone kind of needs. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I really had a good time, and I hope I deliver some value for the candidates listening.
Definitely. All right. We'll catch you guys next week. Take care. Fellow aFormers, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being part of our journey, and thank you for the immense support we've been receiving for our episodes. It has and continues to be a very bumpy road, but we wouldn't want it any other way. If you enjoyed this episode and it brought you value, please share this episode with anyone who may benefit from it. But of course, if you loved the episode, follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, send us a little DM, and we may just send you a secret link to a secret episode which we've been working on. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. See you next time. Keep sketching.